Hey friends, thanks for tuning in. My name is Alejandra Sofia and welcome to Alejandra Sofia YouTube. I'm tuning in to the LiBRA New Moon on October 6th, 2021 at 4:05 a.m. Pacific and 7:05 a.m. Eastern. Please adjust for your time in the world. And I'm tuning in from October 6th. And so I'm really feeling this moon, and I'm here to offer up some pieces of what I'm seeing and feeling here. And I'm a soul level astrologer. I work with Star Genesis Soul Level Astrology. You can look that up, as well as traditional astrology. And I work with degree frequencies, degree star sparks, as well as moon phases and all the traditional elements of astrology. So here we go. Let's dive in, and I'm going to offer up some of the key elements here. And so the biggest thing, the most important thing about this new moon is it's combust Mars. And that means the sun and the moon and Mars are all at the same degree of 14 degrees Libra. Now, I always round up. When you hear me talk degrees, I've rounded up. So the moon occurred at 13 degrees and 25 minutes. And so I round up to the 14th degree. And Mars is conjunct the moon, the new moon, at 13 degrees and 59 minutes, rounding up to 14. So they're in the same degree and the same degree frequency. Now, the degree frequencies, there are 30 degree frequencies, and they all stream in 12 different ways. So just to give a little astrological lesson here with the lineage that I work with, and again, you can look that up at www.soullevelastrology.com, and that's Mark Borax, and stargenesiswisdom.com, and that's Elias Lonsdale. So you can check that out yourself, as well as their books. And so the 14th degree of every sign has something in common, and that's where the degree frequencies come in. So I'm tuning into 14 Libra as well as the 14 frequency. And the 14 frequency is really strong with this moon. We have not only an exact conjunction of the sun and moon, which is always an exact conjunction with Mars, it is in a quincunx to Uranus that's retrograde at 14 degrees Taurus. So this is a key element of the next 29 days. And with the Mars coming in here, that is the main thing going on. So this is this new moon has a lot of energy, a lot of drive, a lot of potential for breaking through fears, breaking through obstacles. And it also depends on where you're coming from, on a personal level with your energy and drive, because Libra does have its shadow side, of course, like every sign does. And so it can get combative. So being watchful about that, of like what it is you're fighting for. Is it an ego drive, or is there like a greater, are you breaking through your own personal barriers? Because that's really the power of this new moon. That is the main thing here. It's about breaking through your own personal psychological barriers and breaking through projections, and really owning your stuff, really owning who you are, and clearing potentially some obstacles that have been in your way for a long time. And I mean emotional, mental obstacles. I mean breaking through patterns of these projections or things that have been hidden in the shadows. If you're doing healing work and clearing trauma, and trauma's thick. Trauma runs thick in this world. It is a very layered experience of clearing trauma. So if you're holding any kind of belief of like, oh, I've done that, I've been there, I don't have to deal with that anymore, it's not over until it's over, until you've really cleared, until you've really transformed and have released something that needs to be released, and it frees up energy. That's what happens. It frees up energy. It frees up space inside of you so that you can really flow with who you are. And so one of the tricky things that I've discovered around and encountered within my own experience and process with, healing and finding myself and what that means, and really clearing obstacles and encountering my shadows, is that you get so used to these patterns. You get really comfortable with them, and you identify with them, especially if they've been with you since early childhood, since since the utero, it lays in really thick. So this moon with this, so we've got, this is a stellium in Libra with the sun and the moon and Mars. And so, and being combust, it means the potential to free something up and move forward with your life, but also having to encounter the obstacles of, being in the midst of yourself and your relationships. And, maybe you've been in a relationship for a long time, like with yourself, you've been in a relationship for a long time with yourself. That's the first person to consider yourself in a relationship with, along with the relationships that are outside of you that you're bonded to and in bondage to really like, how are you doing your life? How are you, are you living your life in a way that's it's actually you're stuck, you're staying too passive in places that you need to feel more alive. And this particular degree frequency of 14 that is strong with this new moon is about getting to the stuff that's clogging self-freedom and clearing your vertical channel. Clearing your vertical channel and the work it takes, the arduous journey it takes, the day-by-day work of getting yourself unstuck or clearing something, or really getting clear about, like, what, that's my fear and I'm holding myself back. And oftentimes what I've found with the sign of Libra is it's sort of slinking around obstacles and it doesn't want to, when Libra isn't fully awake or really in deeper self-contact, that sign can push things away and wait for another day, a later day, to deal with it. And so this new moon saying it's time to deal with it. And it's about gaining leverage with yourself, because there's this, because of Uranus now. So I'm going towards this is the quincunx. These are the strongest elements of this new moon. The two conjunctions, sun and moon conjunction, and then Mars conjuncting the sun and moon. And then the quincunx, which is a 150-degree angle. And those signs, when quincunxing each other, they frustrate each other, they annoy each other. And the interesting thing about the Libra Taurus quincunx is they're both ruled by Venus. So they're coming at two different angles of Venus, and they can really frustrate each other. And so with Uranus at the center, it's like 1 degree away from, and has been transiting this year of 2021. It's transiting the center degrees. In fact, it's stationed retrograde in August at the center of Taurus. And so in these Uranus Taurus years that we've been in since 2018, I believe it's waking up an internal ground where I feel like it's a revolution towards more simple times. And I feel with this Uranus square quincunxing with Libra, and both being Venus ruled, it's really wanting to create more ease with your life, and really want to create more enjoyment with your life, and really wanting to create, because it's these two different channels of Venus, of wanting Venus very body oriented and breath oriented, very breath oriented. That's how Taurus regulates. It's through your own breath. You center back down in your body. Meditation, grounding, being in nature, and just feeling that simple presence of being and that essentialness. And when you prime yourself that way, how that also, when you come into contact with your relationships, there's really wanting to be a healing between you and your beingness, and finding a ground and really landing in an internal ground, and in a ground too of your life, of how you're living your day-to-day life. And so with the Libra, with all this fiery energy and movement, and also in connecting, I'm looking at my astrology here, my little astrology wheel here, where we're working with a Saturn retrograded in Aquarius. It's also in these next few days on Saturday is going direct. And so we've got Pluto went direct today on October 6th, and then we've got Saturn stationing direct right now. So this month we've got 4 planets moving back into direct motion, and that includes the current Mercury retrograde that we're in. So it really speaks to this as a time of change. This is a time of movement and energy and breaking through personal obstacles. And I feel the potential here of if you're in that kind of moment right now with yourself and you don't know exactly how you're going to do things, it's okay not to know, but just whatever shifts that you're needing to go through so that you can create more ease and more enjoyment of your life and how you're living your day-to-day, moment by moment life. And that may mean that, like, maybe you're finding new ways of engaging on a really real, fulfilling level with your friends. Maybe you are offering more support to your friends and allowing yourself to receive more support. Maybe there's a new way to gather together because of that quincunx between these two Venusian signs, and one really grounded and, needs body and needs more like live and breathing bodies, the physical, the sensual, Uranus and Taurus, and nature, and then all this movement in Libra with Mercury retrograde in Libra. It feels like this is an opportunity to clear some communication patterns that are maybe keeping you too much on the surface and you're not really sharing your true experience. We also have Venus. So speaking of Venus and these two Venusian ruled signs that are in an exact quincunx to each other, the Venus is in Scorpio. So Venus in Scorpio is just, it's deep. It wants quiet. It wants really deep, intense conversations and connections. And Scorpio really is a sign that craves deep fulfillment and doesn't do the surface world very well. Libra can do it, but it can exhaust itself. It can exhaust its adrenals, just being too much on the surface and not really, and always kind of, looking happy. And yeah, that it's good to be positive, but it's good to be real. It's good to be able to share other parts of you that just need that nourishment of a friend, or you receiving your friend or whoever in a deeper way can be so nourishing. And so with Uranus being in a quincunx, it speaks to some revolutionary energy, like a shift, needing to revolutionize your life. And we've got Mars and Uranus in this quincunx. So it's time to take a different action. It's time to also maybe really step up for your ideals. If there's something in your reality where you're like, that's not okay. I've got to really live by my values. That's not okay, because there's also issues in the greater social circle of humanity, of society, with Jupiter and Saturn both getting ready to go station direct. Now Saturn stations direct on Saturday, which would be the 9th, Saturday the 9th, and then Jupiter stations direct on October 18th, which is the same day that Mercury stations direct, and then Pluto stationed direct 6 hours after the LiBRA New Moon today on October 6th. So we're really heading into some potentially life-changing, changing your life so that you're living more with yourself, more with your values, making necessary adjustments to maybe even find better ways, healthier ways to regulate yourself. And also I think too that there's a giving each other a break. There's always something deeper. There's always a deeper story. Everybody has a deeper story. We were all born to this planet. Everyone's been traumatized one way or another, and that can be very hard to see. And so this is bringing in another element of what's quincunxing the sun, the moon, and Mars in their combust formation. The exact conjunction at 14 Libra is that we have another planet. It's an asteroid. It's Pallas Athene. Pallas Athene is quincunxing also Mars, the moon, and sun. And so this is a yod formation. So we've got two planets, and for this moment, I'm going to refer to Pallas Athene as a planet. Pardon the fly there. And she's retrograde in Pisces. And so I have my chart set with it's an Aries. It has an Aries rising, and so Pallas Athene is in the 12th house. So it speaks to going behind the scenes and doing some really essential work on feeling more closely at your wounds, at your patterns, and something that needs to be seen and heard and felt by you. And if you need to do some digging, family members that you can talk to, early childhood, understanding your early childhood is so, so, so important, because that is the most profoundly conditioning time of your life, of our lives. We are a nurture dependent species, human beings. And so, going back into the earliest days of your life, just asking more questions, trusting your intuition. This is really important, to trust your intuition, to listen to yourself. And that's really what this is about. It's really listening to yourself and getting yourself out of any models that are just, it's not your model of reality. It really, even though that's how you've been doing it, or that's what you were sold and that's what you were told, it's time to break out of those models for yourself and really create, your own model of reality that is, within a moral, ethical ground, and through your heart and through your being and your creativity, and really living a life that is nurturing and healing. And what I mean by healing is just, it's fulfilling to you, and when we're living away from ourselves or against ourselves in some way, and we're living with too much stress, then we need some time to nourish ourselves, which is healing and more fulfilling. So really leaning in more towards what fulfills you, and that is what life's about. What is life about? Asking those really deep, meaningful questions. What am I doing? Taking that kind of break, putting a pause on your life is so essential, with this. And that's what I feel that this Uranus quincunx is really asking us to just pause and reflect more and really go towards what nourishes you, and can that be your life? And what is the cause of your stress? If you're experiencing stress, that is, and how can you clear that? What is it that you can do to create more ease in your life and more ease in your relationships? And is there some way that you can offer as you're finding yourself, can you, reconnecting to yourself and finding new ways? Is there a way that you can bring more ease to other people? Because we do need each other. We need each other. We need each other. And the Libran channel is our giving and receiving channel. And if we've got a block to that, right? If we've got a block to that in any way, if there's any kind of block to receiving, then you have a block with giving. And it might be, you could have one of those patterns of oh, but I give and I give and I give. Yeah, but if you can't receive, then there's a block, because it's an exchange, it's a flow, and I don't think it's about being so altruistic that you give up your needs. I don't believe in that kind of selflessness. I don't think that that's how we're truly designed. I believe that we're designed to be an exchange, an energetic exchange. And so the Libran channel, if you look at in terms of the blueprint of the signs, the 12 signs, there's 12 different channels. And whether or not you have any Libran planets, you have your Libran sign. It's a Libran stream. And wherever it is in your charts, and whatever houses that it's flowing through you, it's essential. It's essential to your giving and receiving. And so the Taurian with Uranus and Taurus right now, wherever that is located in your chart, there's just, it's like an inner earthquake, it's shaking things up. This isn't working for me. I need to do things in a new way. And it can even be a response to what's happening in the world. It could be a response to what's happening with other people. And just, with Venus in Scorpio right now, I think it's really important. And Pluto having just moved direct, and why that's important too, and why this is important for the whole month of October, that 4 planets are moving direct, especially these outer planets, Pluto, and then Saturn, and then Jupiter, is that we're now heading in, with them moving direct, we're heading in towards the 2021 pathways of each of these signs. And so each sign is advancing, each planet is advancing in these signs. And so that really speaks to the greater evolution of what's going to be happening in 2021. So October really is, this month of October is sort of a launching, a preparation for what's coming in 2022, and making some essential shifts right now that feel important, that need to be addressed right now for what wants to happen in 2022, and which I will go more into in further videos. So really taking with Pallas Athene again to finish off this yod. Okay, and the yod is really important. The finger of God is when two planets are each at 150-degree angle to a planet. And in this case, it's the sun, the moon. So it's the new moon and Mars. So the new moon in Mars is a booster energy. It's boosting us into something new. So there is a thrust. But these two planets that are boosting that what's at the point of the yod, it's important because they're both in retrograde. There's an adjustment energy. So Pallas Athene, one of her symbols is an owl, and in the Aries chart, because I have the new moon Libra chart set to Aries rising, Pisces is in the 12th, and so there's something behind the scenes, something to look at, something that needs some deep insight potentially, maybe how you've been holding yourself back, or maybe participating in holding other people back, because it's something there that just it's really, because Pallas Athene is like the dagger. It's like going into yourself when you use the dagger on yourself to really get deep insight, to really stand in the truth of what you're in the midst of looking at your patterns and seeing that's like, oh, that's my ego, that's my fear. And however your fear shows up, some people's fear shows up in depression, other people's fear shows up in anger and overcompensating, sort of Mars energy. So with this Pallas Athene, doing some deeper work on yourself and really, because Pisces really wants to soften the energy. That softens the energy. And Pisces is a really big love energy. It's a big, I do love this planet. I love the waters. It just loves at a core level. Pisces is just the waters of the world. It just wants to embrace everything and loves everything and wants to, sing and dance and just have things be easy. And so that's where this yod is in these signs that are like, they're dreamers, they're feelers, with Pisces and Taurus and Libra, and wanting to have a little bit more fun, wanting to have more ease, wanting to sort of lighten things up and have much more of a more fulfilling experience. And how can you shift some views of what's happening out in the world so it's just not so tense? So a little bit more acceptance of what's happening that sort of lightens you up around the heart. I'm going to bring in some tarot wisdom now. I drew some cards, and thanks for sticking with me here. I drew some cards to invite in the greater guiding energies to support us at this time, and so I wanted to see what they had to say, the greater guiding beings. That's who I work with when I work with tarot. And so the first card, I drew 5 cards. So the first card is the main. It's the main thing. It's the main issue. It's the main theme of this month. Then the second card is the obstacle of what's in our way or what's challenging us with this theme. And then what are we integrating from the past? What is it that we need to see moving forward? And what is the outcome? What's going to support us moving forward? And so the main card, the issue, the theme of this Libra new moon, I drew the Emperor card, the Crowley deck, which is interesting because this is an Aries card, and it's like really claiming your domain, really claiming your ground, your structure, structuring your life. It's your independence, your individuality. And that brings in too, in relating this to the Libra new moon, there's a key to this chart, and that's Chiron. Chiron is in opposition to this, to the Sun, Moon, and Mars conjunction. So there's a key that wants to get unlocked, and Aries is ruled by Mars. So this is a really interesting opposition there's a very big potential for healing something, for unlocking something that's going to allow you to create your life on your terms, to structure your life with the red thread of the Emperor, of using your own executive frontal lobes and choosing for yourself, making choices that are strong, using your judgment for good, for the health of yourself, and also having the boundaries that you'll need to have, because some relationships will challenge you. And so this is a good card to, notice when self-doubt comes in, because that can be a real downer. And so it's challenging to you to look at, that yes, self-doubt might come up, but this is what this is about. When if you want to be the emperor of your life, if you really want to claim your life and be in the royal seat of your own throne, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to rule over your own life, and you're going to have to say yes when you mean no, and yes when you mean yes, and maybe when you mean maybe. And so that kind of fine tuning of being really clear with who you are is it's having authority over yourself, and so that's what that means to be in leadership of your own life, to be an authorship of your own life, and the clearing the vertical channel that you need to clearing the stuff that's clogging your self freedom. And I believe this is about freedom. This is about freedom. You being the ruler of your life, within the context of universal law, of course, and nature. And so nature is on your side, and you being aligned with your own core nature. And so what's in the way, what's blocking, what's challenging the situation? I got the Hangman card. So what's challenging it is that something needs to be sacrificed. Something needs to be sacrificed, and it feels to me that it's just you're sacrificing something that's just it's in your way, it's hurting you, it's also being willing and being courageous. Like there is something to sacrifice to be courageous, which with the Emperor card, there is courage. It's all red. It's a courageous card. And so yeah, there is maybe even being challenged by what your fears are saying you might have to sacrifice, and discovering whether or not that's true. But what needs to be sacrificed is whatever that is personal to you, whatever patterns that is, whatever that means to you. You do need to let go of something, because that is, the Emperor card is the power of choice and what you're choosing. And if you're choosing to be in leadership of your life, or if you're not, you're going to have to sacrifice one way or another. And it's important not to sacrifice your soul. And so it's important to look at what you're negotiating in your relationships, and what you're in unconscious agreements with, or if you've established some conscious agreements, if you need to renegotiate, definitely. That's what time it is, with Mercury in retrograde right now, and this fantastic combustion of Mars with the new moon in Libra. It's a time to renegotiate, and you change. Things are changing. You need to renegotiate. And it's really important not to sacrifice your soul, your deepest soul's truth, and what that means to you. So that's up to you to figure out, am I over-sacrificing something that's actually like vital to my being? I see this Emperor card too. It's the blood, it's your vitality, it's who you are. Like if you're sacrificing any parts of yourself that's actually like, I need to get this back online. I need to get to the stuff that's clogging self-freedom. With this Mars-led new moon, this is the work you have to do. You're going to have to sacrifice your fears. You're going to have to sacrifice whatever that means to you. And it's okay to sacrifice, negotiate dinner, and not have what you really want because your relationship wants something else. That's okay. That's okay. But it's like sacrificing stuff that's actually like, no, I need this for my fulfillment. I vitally need this for my being. I love this. I need this. Or even if it's moving to another part of the world, even whatever that is for you, even if it's like letting go of your relationship, it could be that. That's where it gets really hard. Our relationships, we in our relationships can hold us back, and how we are in our relationships, and the fear of losing a relationship. So that's where I feel this Mars energy really just wants to, I'm willing to deal with this. I need to deal with this. It's time. I'm okay. I'll get through whatever I need to get through. I'll always have friends. I'll always have people who love me and support me. I'll find new friends. That's like, we live in a new world. I do believe, although we live in an intense world, and it might seem like there's more hate, and I think there's also more kindness. I believe that there's more kindness. We have more extremes than ever before. We have more people on the planet. We're almost at 8 billion. Okay. So what do we need to integrate from the past? Got the Hermit card. So, this is alone time. This is being alone. This is something, this is between you and you and you and you and your own soul, you and your own, whatever time you've needed, whatever, maybe that's what is needed right now, is to integrate more alone time as well. More alone time so you can really hear yourself. If you need to walk out somewhere into nature where you don't hear anything else but yourself, do it. It's really important. We're so easily bombarded with technology and other people, whatever your situation is, getting that time to just really hear yourself, really listen to the deep intuition, to your heart and soul, get into your psyche, get into just even to see like where you're blocking yourself, where you're stopping yourself, where you're doubting yourself. Question those doubts, really get into the doubts. Allow this to be an opportunity for you to open up this conversation of like, hey me, what do you think about that? And why do you think that? This is personal. It's your number one relationship in your life. So this Hermit card and this being in the position of what we're integrating from the past, I'm feeling like because we're in Mercury retrograde, we're still in this, and with Pluto going direct in Capricorn, that we're still in this time of hermiting and needing that time to find our own internal light and see the truth of who we are. And the 9 card is a transformative number of getting that deeper insight. So you can use that Pallas Athene insight dagger in Pisces in the 12th house of this chart to really peer into yourself and talk to people, talk to a therapist, get some advice maybe, but just keep it, don't take the advice only if it's like really resounding with you. But also really getting that alone time is essential. It's super essential. And so what we're headed into, this is the 8 of Cups, and it's the indolence card. This is encountering the hard feelings, encountering something that needs to be let go of. These are hard patterns. It can be a depression. So it's really looking in at maybe there's something that does need to be let go of that you're sad about, and you'll get through it. But it's also a card of releasing those patterns that are depression, that keep holding you back, those hard feelings that keep holding you back. And how is it that you can be more in your own sort of self-authorship and like, you know what, I can handle this. It's cool. I get it. I can do it. It's okay. I've done it. I can. So those parts of you can sort of talk to and nurture and just say, all right, I know, honey, self, and really, sacrifice the sacrifice that you have to go through. And yeah, you might hit some spots where you're feeling some fear, feeling some concern, fear of the future, fear of the unknown, but you're going to get through it because the outcome card is Justice. So I got 4 major arcana cards. So this is the Justice card. And so this is Pallas Athene energy. This is like really doing justice to your own life, really listening to your own judgment. I do not mean negative self-judgment, but judgment, discernment, thinking, making those choices that you're making for yourself, getting clear about what it is you're sacrificing. And so there's the scales there. Here's the card of Libra, one of the cards of Libra, and these scales of like, what's more important to me? Like if I sacrifice this, how will I feel? If you have to use that kind of measurement of like, what's more important to me? And if I had to give both, if I had to give one or the other up, which one would I give up? You can play with that as well, just to discover what's important to you and what's essential to you. And so that fine tuning, that's your mind, that's your thoughts, and it's internal, it's facing down. It's like your ground, your mind, and with Mercury retrograde, right? So we are in that Mercury retrograde, and Mercury goes direct on October 18th and comes out of its retrograde path, the shadow path it's called, on November 3rd, which is just before the Scorpio new moon. So still after Mercury goes direct on October 18th, there's still going to be this period of adjustment. So I feel that Justice card is speaking to Mercury that's retrograde right now. Use the opportunity you don't know everything right now. The Pallas Athene too, to just kind of get into some things in your mind and if there's ways that you need to share some things with friends, or whatever it is, these new, there might be new information that you need, new information from yourself, clearing these patterns, and really getting to the stuff that's clogging self-freedom. That's really the number one issue. The number one thing, getting to the stuff that's clogging self-freedom and doing that work to clear these energetic pathways. So there we go, friends. If you're still with me, thank you for being here. Please subscribe and share my channel with your friends, and I'll be sharing new moon and full moon videos and whatever I feel inspired. So thanks again. Ciao for now, and much love.